and Rob Lancaster in our unit. My dad was Jimmy Cowan. Our other member who passed away was Rob Lancaster. They both were a part of the unit, but not with the unit anymore. They had come to the point where they had retired. This was always their favorite event to come to. This event was always every year. And my dad loved history. Mr. Lancaster loved history. And they believed in history. And this is just a ceremony for them. My mother is here. And today is actually their wedding anniversary. So I'm going to lead you off with Chris to say a little something, and then we'll continue.
Jimmy was one of the founding members of the 1st North Carolina Cavalry. He served as the commander, he served as the adjutant, and he served in various other posts over the years. Rob Lancaster was in the unit. He did not command the unit, but he was mounted. He had a horse and was with us for 4 or 5 years. But one thing about the 1st North Carolina is once you join the 1st North Carolina, what I've discovered is that you're in it for life. For those of you who got it this weekend, we've had 4 or 5 former members just came out to Fort Branch just to be back with us. And I mean, I'll point out Tim Michaels is right there. He's an inactive member, but he's a member for life. Rod Rhodes was here. Mike Nichols was here. And so Rob Lancaster reached out to me 2 months ago and asked me for a roster of all of the guys who've been in so he could renew his relationship with everybody. Of course, he had no idea he was going to die. Rob and Jimmy were not that different in age. It's really a tragic loss that they died before their time, both of them. And Rob's family has not figured out yet what Rob died of, as far as we know. They're doing an autopsy to figure it out because he just dropped dead. And so for all of you who are currently in or associated with the 1st North Carolina, this is one of those things that you do that's part of your life. And we've developed friendships that have lasted, well, Jonathan's mom was with us on the very first Fort Branch. And Jonathan came along as a baby for years. So he's kind of grown up, and my grandson Dave, right here, has grown up coming to Fort Branch for years. And of course, Gabe's father, was already in the unit for years. So we mourn in every loss. We've lost 8. And you guys chime in if I forget somebody. I'm going to name everyone's name, because if we're going to go ahead and fire a volley, we'll add in all the rest. We had Philip Sutton, who was a very young man, and he was from Farmville, along with Mike Nichols. And Philip died years ago, but we're remembering him today. Remembering Bob Hempchel, who was from Elizabeth City. And Bob went on his way. The founding member of this unit, Maynard Riddle, has gone and passed on. And Maynard actually put this unit together. And we were horse holders for the general staff. And Maynard said, "You need to be cavalry." And ever since Maynard did that, we have been cavalry. So we thank Maynard for his assistance, and I believe we have a plaque over here. You see it in the museum for Maynard Riddle, and he's one of the people that really pushed Fort Branch. All right, thank you. So please, if you haven't seen this plaque, it'll be on view in the museum, and I invite everyone to come and see it. And again, Maynard was an ex-Marine. But Maynard loved history just like Jimmy, and Maynard and Jimmy were very good friends, as well as myself. Let's see, I've gone through them. Bobby Pierce was also a good friend of ours, and I remember when Bobby died, Bobby was a scoutmaster. He was in the 1st North Carolina Cavalry. He was a band master. He was in a biker club. And when I went to his funeral, it was the biggest funeral I've ever seen. There were bikers, there were reenactors, So again, we invite people to take the things that they love and bring them to us. And Bobby did that for us. Okay, something to run up. Who am I forgetting? David Timberlake. David Timberlake was an engineer for Carolina, the power company, the big power company. Raleigh's power company. But anyway, David Timberlake died on his horse, which we all hope to do. Died on his horse out on a ride on a Civil War event, and we regret David's loss. David was very close to all of us again from the beginning. Did I give 8? I don't know if I got 8. There's one more. Oh, Bob. Battleship Bob. Battleship Bob. Bob, what's Bob's last name? Cornier. Bob Cornier is another one. Now, we call him Battleship Bob, but we mean that with all due respect. Because Bob, if you've ever gone in and looked at tintypes from the Civil War, the photographers had weapons for these guys to take pictures so they could look fierce for their relatives back home. So if you go and look at these old tintypes, these guys would have 2 revolvers crossed and revolvers stuffed in their belts and revolvers in their boots. Well, Bob Cornier did it for real. We would go to a battle and we would all be out of ammunition, and Bob was still pulling pistols out of his boots and firing away. So we nicknamed it Battleship Bob because we'd just put him out in front of the unit and say, just keep firing until we retire off the field. But I do that with all due respect because every member of our unit that has joined the unit has brought something to it when everybody would agree, right? So who else did I do now? That's the last one, right? Anybody else? That's it. But if you go through the litany of names that I just said, in the Civil War, a section was the first 2 sets of 4s. So the first 2 sets of 4s in the 1st North Carolina have gone on before us. They've been deployed externally. So we honor them today, and they will keep the main line safe as we move forward. So I'm going to turn it back over to our lieutenant who's going to command the respect.
Company, cut to Fort. Ready? Aim. Fire. Reload. Company at 10. Huh. Dismiss.
Don't pop a knee on the way down.